Thank you, Blake, for your infinite in time and space story. That's cool. They went from the starfish on the beach to the stars in the sky. So that's a story about our great vow, which is infinite in time and space. So it refers to your true self, not your so called smaller self. Anyway, that's our job. And that's what Zen is all about. It's about love and compassion. And that's why we're called the Quan school of Zen. Quan means perceive sound, school of Zen. And it refers to hearing the cries of suffering from the world. So when you perceive the sound, you're perceiving the sound of the suffering of the world. That's where the name for Kwanseum Bosal comes. And then, of course, our job is just to not hear, but do something about it. And that's what the story is about. Cool story. I always liked that story. But I'm a sucker for children's stories. Mainly because I can understand them. The deeper ones kind of elude me, but I like the children's stories because it's very clear what's going on. So, any questions this morning? Or comments? Any kind of? Yes, please.
Was
Tobias.
that a yes for me? Yes. Hey. Remember me back in Germany now.
Oh,
For
really?
those of you who don't know, I was in Lawrence last year and just traveled around, and now I'm back in Germany. But since the time difference is like evening here, since you're doing it early in the morning, I can join. And yeah, to my question, um, it's about basically I'm just asking for inspiration on perceiving things without judgment, like detaching the judgment, because my head likes attaching things to things,
Yeah.
and it's fun, and it's hard to I I don't know. It's like detaching it and just seeing it for what it is. Like I
Mhm.
looked at my clock and I saw like the numbers, and I was like, okay. And then there was something written on it. And it's really hard to not understand the like reading, or just to not put anything behind it. Like if we just say we perceive something, and but there's like a bunch of symbols. They have a bunch of meaning attached to them. May that be language or whatever it is.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, I'm kind of struggling a lot with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about Buddhism is it's not about struggling with your mind, it's about letting go of your mind. So if you look at that clock and you just let go and just perceive it clearly, we call that the truth, right? It's even called truth enlightenment in our school. So you're not adding anything to it, you're not detracting anything from it, you're just, in this case, seeing, right? So that's Buddha even got enlightenment, right? When he just saw a star. So he wasn't adding anything to the star and he wasn't taking anything away from the star. He just saw the star. And then he realized, wow, that's it. So that's a kind of enlightenment that we call truth enlightenment. So it isn't about transforming your mind or, well, there's just no words to explain it, but what you do is you let go of your, in this case, judgment mind, like, oh, my mind is making something out of this clock. Oh, those words are written in English. No, 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 wait, I screwed up. They're written in German. So your mind is always doing that kind of stuff moment to moment. But that also is the truth if you just let go for a second. So your befuddled mind, you can just let it be. It is the truth, moment to moment to moment to moment, also. So you're free. It's interesting because Buddhism is about letting go. It isn't about getting to any special state like heaven or anything like that. It's about just letting go. And then you are what you are, right? And that we call it just letting go. So Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. So, as Blake was saying, if you attach to that phrase, you think, oh my God, what am I ever going to do? Sentient beings are numberless. That means they're infinite. And they are too, infinite in time and space. But if you just let go and return to this moment, then you become one with this infinite time and space. So usually we're attached to something, so we always have a problem. So the attachment might be something we like. Like you said, oh, it's very pleasurable to attach to these things, right? But also, everything that you attach to will soon go away, right? There's only two possibilities. One, you can get what you want, what you're attached to, what you like, right? Now, that's actually the worst thing that could happen. We think it's the best thing, but it's actually the worst thing, because soon, whatever that is, it'll go away, right? That's what the Buddha saw. So that means if you get what you want, that's actually the shortest route to suffering. The other thing can happen is you don't get what you want. And you don't like that either. But both of them are pointing to something else, and that's becoming one in this moment, just now. So I see you sitting, where are you in Germany?
On my couch.
Good.
Good.
I'm sitting in my kitchen, or in the Zen Center's kitchen. Yeah. Well, what city?
In Detmold, like the
really
part.
Wow, yeah. I spent a lot of time in Germany. So that's just this moment, right? But we're also looking at each other on our screen. I can see all the other people, It's incredible that we come together to practice like this, to attain this one thing, which is no attainment, right? Which means just return to just now. So what is it? I guess it's the Diamond Sutra says that past mind, okay, maybe that's your mind back when you were in Lawrence, and now it's your mind when you're in Germany a few minutes ago. You can't hold on to that. And future mind, well, you don't know what your future mind is going to be. You can speculate, but you don't really know, right? And then there's present mind, but that already went by. So what do you have? Well, you just have this, what's it called? Zeptosecond or something. It's a trillionth of 1/10000000th of a second. That's the shortest period of time that we can measure, that physicists can measure now. So that's a pretty short period of time, That doesn't even give you time to get a cup of coffee. So that's where we live, we say, right? So that means just wake up. So that's our job, moment to moment, is to wake up. And then use that mind to help the world. And that's what Blake's story is about, helping the world. Okay? So always we're practicing letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go. And the reason is because of suffering, and it's attachment which creates suffering, right? Your like and dislike mind. So it's pretty simple. This doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Actually, we call it becoming a kind of stupid, right? So that's enlightenment, is a kind of stupidity, but it's a very wise kind of stupidity, and it's also a kind of stupidity that's helpful rather than harmful. Okay? Alles ist gut. Any other questions?
I have a question. This
Yes.
is there are these two phrases. One says like this, the other one is just like this.
Right.
Can you say something about this too?
Yeah, I just talked about them.
Yeah, I mean,
So like this is the truth, right? And just like this is just do it. So that's, everything is always changing very fast, even faster than the zeptosecond. So Actually, everything is just like this. But we freeze it in our mind and turn it into the truth, So that's what those two phrases refer to. Important is this direction part. Why do you do this? Just like this. So just like this is the truth. It's also just do it. And just do it is become one. Become one is love and compassion. Buddhism is all about love and compassion. So actually all of Buddhism is contained in the Nike shoe ad. Just do it. In fact, one of my big theories about how we could save a lot of money, instead of buying these gold Buddhas and buying these expensive paintings and all this stuff to put on the altar, we just get us a Nike shoe ad swoosh and put it on the altar. Because that is it. Just do it. Become one. Boom! Okay? So any teaching words are like that. We have hundreds of thousands of teaching words. There's more teaching words than there is anything else, right? So you have to see what the behind thing is, because there's no way you're going to be able to remember or learn all those different teaching words in all those different languages, blah, 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 So it's good to perceive what the, I guess you would say, what the essence of it is. Then you know all the words. That's why we say in Zen, if you truly understand one of the words, you understand all the words. You don't have to sit around studying and memorizing books and learning other languages and stuff. You need to just wake up. Boom! Then you see through it. Well, you let go of your attachment to all of those words and phrases. Those phrases are not good or bad, they're just pointing at something in a particular kind of way. Okay? Does that make sense?
It does. That's kind of made me thinking about that book says 365 koans that we work on. I have this imagination that all these koans may just have one answer. If we don't know how to answer one, we don't know how to answer any of them. If we know how to answer one, we kind of maybe see, the answer for all of them. But I'm still working on, just one of them. So.
That's no problem. Yeah, they're all just different techniques pointing at the same thing.
Yeah.
Your original intuitive self becoming one with a situation. So each one of those koans has a particular kind of situation. And your job is to become one with it, not through your thinking mind, but your original intuitive mind. So it's a kind of like I don't know, what would you call it, a practice of intuition or something, which is becoming one. Another way to say become one with the situation.
Yeah. I was just thinking that those koan books. I'm imagining maybe there's a based on grade level, like grade 1 you work on this koan, but grade 6 you work on other koan. But I feel all those koan in that book is the same grade. If you get one, you get all of them. But for us, not getting the first one, then everything is not helping. So I'm maybe trying to find the easier koan to start with.
Yeah, they're just a technique. There's nothing special about them. In fact, they're stupid, Actually, they're so simple and so stupid, that's why people don't get them. The reason you don't get them is because you attach to some of the words and you're trying to understand, oh God, when the hell does that mean? And then the answer doesn't appear. As soon as you let go and become one with the situation that's in the koan, then boom, whoa, right? And it's nothing special. Although we talk it up as special,
Thank
but
you,
that's
Zen
just a
Master.
technique too. So you'll kind of like want to do it or pursue it or something as a technique. It's not special.
I see. I'll continue working on those. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It's interesting that kind of technique emerges in China. It comes, they think originally from Taoism. It's used, as a kind of like a spiritual, we would say spiritual technique in China, and then it gets infused into Zen. Yeah, it's a cool technique. It's fun.
Yeah, thank you for the comment. I was born and raised in China, but we didn't get much of exposure to this type of Zen. I read it somewhere that kind of Zen somehow died out in China because later it become something only the one with high mind or this elite, society can understand it. It becomes a technique like an empty word people pursue, not becoming something that's very fundamental that helps people. So it doesn't really continue as much as it back in the past. So I wonder this helping people may be more important than, I understand 400 Kong An.
Yeah, it's meaningless actually.
Thank you.
Well, like right now in China and Korea and stuff, today is a very important day because it's Buddha's Enlightenment Day in Asia. So it's like the last day of the intensive week of this 90-day retreat. So it's the end of the 7th week of Kilche, the intensive 90-day retreat. So in Korea, all the people that are doing Kilche there, this 90-day winter retreat, they're all heading to get a bath. We always went to the public bath on this day, right? And then if you're really clever, you can sneak a sip of soju or something in some restaurant somewhere. And then you run back to the monastery and do the last 6 weeks. But they operate on the lunar calendar, right? Because Asian people many times think about things in terms of the lunar calendar. While here in the United States and in the West and Germany and Europe and every place, it's actually the beginning of Kilche because we shifted from the beginning of the lunar year to the beginning of the 11th month of the lunar year to the first month of the solar year for our 90-day retreat. So now is the beginning of the 90-day retreat here in the United States, or in where is it? Where's it in Europe starting today? It's in Czech Republic, I can't remember, or Germany. Is it in Germany? Anyway, it's the beginning in the West. It's the beginning of Kilche, and in the East, in Southeast Asia, it's halfway through. Any other questions?
I had a question. So I've just started to get into Buddhist practice. And sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
So just started to get into Buddhist practice, and I've been thinking a lot about the idea of rebirth. I'm not sure I necessarily believe that yet, but I was just wondering, it's if the self isn't really like, because my understanding of no self is that the self isn't like some concrete thing. It's like composed of 5 aggregates. So there's no real one thing you can point at, and say, hey, that's me, Right. If that's the case, then as far as rebirth, then what continues after the dissolution of the body, I guess. And I guess I'd like your like general ideas on rebirth, if it would be helpful.
Yeah, your question has already given me a headache, just as it has given you a headache, right? So there's a lot of teaching words floating around, right? In Buddhism, we borrow a lot of teaching words from what we these days call Hinduism, or we might borrow some teaching words from Taoism, or we might borrow some teaching words from Confucianism, So we borrow all these words, and the best way to think about them, to my mind, is not that they're talking about anything. They're pointing towards something. It's important to see what they're pointing towards rather than getting hung up on whatever the surface meaning is, right? So in Zen, we don't use reincarnation very much. You probably noticed that. While reincarnation is a really big deal in in the Hindu style of thinking. It even supports a caste system that is not so good, perhaps, from a social justice point of view. So what does it really mean? Well, in Zen, we say that you're reincarnated, what did I call this thing? Zeptosecond? You're reincarnated 10,000 times a second, right? So you're continually being reborn. So that's one way to look behind this notion of, well, I'm going to reemerge again as from my mother's body after I die, after 49 days or after whatever. And then I will be me again, and I'll be marching on through life. And isn't that wonderful? Because everything is eternal. But you probably noticed that we don't talk about eternal so much in Zen. We talk about waking up in this moment, because this is it. You know, that's just now mind. So if you look at reincarnation, the way I look at it is you reincarnate moment to moment to moment to moment. So what you want to do is make yourself clear in this moment so you can help the world, rather than being attached to, for example, a person that can read your past lives told me that in my past life, this is going to be a duh moment for me. In my past life, I was a Korean monk living in India, right? And I died in Bodh Gaya in 1944, early 1944. So that's cool, but so what? 3,000 years from now, it'll be something else. And who knows whether that is right? And what difference does it make anyway? So you have to be able to let go so that your wisdom mind can use what you are and what you have, wherever that came from. And we don't know. The Buddha gave up after going back just 500 lives. So 500 lives is quite a while, but he just gave up. And so the point of that is to wake up just now. And that's our job. Wake up just now and help the world. And don't worry about all the concepts about that. Actually, don't attach to those either. Then you can use all those concepts to help other people. So thank you for listening. And now we have some announcements. That'll be this moment's job. Thank you.